Hi, this is Chris with True Home Maintenance. Today we're here doing a seasonal service. So I just wanted to kind of give you a brief description of what we're doing in a tune-up so you guys can properly see how they should be done. So currently I have my gauges hooked up. We're letting the thing run for about 15 to 20 minutes so that the pressures and everything can equalize so I can properly check the refrigerant charge. And then we're going to be going through checking all of the electrical components as far as capacitors, contactors, and relays. And the last thing I'll do before I'm done is I'm going to clean the coil. Current amp draw is 12.1 on the compressor. It's rated for 17. That's good. The refrigerant charge is looking good as well. 1.9 on the outdoor fan motor. It's important on the fan motor to not go off the data plate because this motor could have been changed. You always look at the motor itself. So for instance, on this motor, the max amp draw is 1.5. So this is one of the things we're going to let the homeowner know. This fan motor is overamping. It will likely fail soon. So that's something we find on tune-ups quite frequently. This is an electrical disconnect. There should be a cover to cover up these wires. At some point it was either thrown away or broke. Current fuse size is 40s. We're going to verify that off the unit for the max fuse size, which on this is 40, so that's good. Next thing I'm checking is called the capacitors. So the first thing we do is remove all the wires. We shunt them to ground to make sure that the cap is discharged. So these caps are allowed to be plus or minus 6% of what they're rated for. The outdoor fan side is pretty close to the 6%. It's still within tolerance, so it's still okay for now. This is called a bench test. The next thing I'm going to do is called a load test on the cap. Sometimes they will still test good or bad here and then not under a load. So we're going to check that under a load next. This capacitor passed on both. For the purpose of cleaning the coil, we always unplug the disconnect. We don't want anything to have power while we're cleaning the coil. So now I've removed the top of the condenser to expose both the inside and outside portions of the coil. At this time I'm going to start piling the product. Before I do that, it's important to note there are some products on the market right now that are acid based. There's two reasons why I don't recommend those. One, it actually eats the copper and aluminum inside your coil, which can cause refrigerant leaks. And two, this stuff is going to run out onto the ground. You wouldn't want your pets or any of your kids to get into it. So the products that we use, they do require it to be rinsed off. However, they're completely biodegradable and safe if your kids or your pets were to get into them. I always start with the inside just because it's the harder side to get to. And you do want to get pretty close so that you can get the coil cleaner to penetrate the coil. And right away you'll start to see that the dust and the oxidation that's on this coil from running and cooling all summer is starting to run off. So now we've cleaned the inside and the outside of the coil, we can go ahead and reassemble the condenser. I have had some homeowners ask me, can they just do this with their hose? You certainly can. However, just like we don't take showers with just water. These coils do require some kind of a detergent to strip all of the dust and dirt off the sides of the coils. Once I'm done here, we'll go inside and take a look inside. Alright, so now we're inside at the air handler. The first thing I want to check is to make sure that the filter's clean. So for hers, it's down here on the ground. We're just going to open it up, pull out and inspect the filter. This filter looks like it's almost brand new, so we're going to go ahead and put that back in. It is easiest to do that with the blower running, so that it helps hold the filter back. It is important to note that while I have this cover off, I have the condensing unit outside turned off, so I don't cause it to ice up or act improperly. This motor is rated for 1.9. The fan motor itself is rated at 1.6, which is pretty good. However, on the other side of this motor, if you actually look at the motor itself, it's covered in dirt and debris, completely encased in the back side of the motor. That should definitely be cleaned, so we'll be letting her know about that as well. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unplug the air handler. And just like outside, we have a capacitor in here as well. This is a 7.5. And it did fail the bench test. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. This one actually failed the mouth test as well, so that cap should be replaced. Down in here you can see the top side of the evaporator coil, which looks pretty clean. We're going to go ahead and double check the bottom side of the evaporator coil now. The inside of the evaporator coil is pretty dirty. We'll let her know so we can go ahead and get that clean for her as well. So that pretty much concludes the business side of the tune-up. Hopefully this is helpful with you, letting you know how important they are and how many moving parts are to actually check. And hope you enjoyed the video.